Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. As you can see by the gorgeous screen, we have a fantastic co-host with us tonight. Debbie Miller, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. What kind of big plans do you have for, I was almost going to say Halloween, oh my gosh, for Thanksgiving? I still think it's October, right?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe it's already the end of November. Actually, I'm not quite sure what our Thanksgiving plans are. So
I was just wondering, with 17 grandchildren, if you can ever fit everybody in one house, that would be the most amazing thing in the world to try and cook for that kind of a brood.
well, we have had everybody here at one time. We do have our basement is set up actually with 5 tables down there. So
Wow.
we all kind of fit there, but now Ken can't get down there. So now we're trying to figure out how to eat upstairs.
Yes, I imagine there's a lot of challenges every single year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are celebrating. A lot of people are still a little restricted as far as going places and amounts of crowds and things like that. So it's always interesting to see how those types of issues affect the holidays for sure.
Yes, that's for sure.
All right. I want you to introduce the book that we're going to be reading tonight.
Okay. I guess I've chosen the book of Esther primarily because there aren't very many female books in the Bible. And I guess since most of us that are here are females, it's always good to look at a good example for us and how God uses them, sometimes behind the scenes, but he still uses us in ways and it still wants us to be ready to be used and the way he trains us.
That is honestly, a beautiful thought process. And we are thrilled to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Calvin, if you're on tonight with Donna, that is awesome. And we love, love, love to have you as part of our family as well. And so we are definitely ready to be used whenever we are called. That's a beautiful testimony, Debbie, and a beautiful reason for having chosen that book. All right. Thank you again for joining us tonight on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. This is Debbie Miller co-hosting with us this evening, and we are going to be reading from the book of Esther. All right, Miss Debbie, are you ready for Bible trivia?
Yes, I am.
All right. Ready, set, go. What was the name of the king? David, Ahab, Herod, or Ahasuerus? How do you say that?
Artaxerxes.
Okay, that's not how it's spelled here, but that works for me. What was the name?
Ahasuerus, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, then I'll do Ezra. That'd be better. What was the name of the king? David, Ahab, Herod, or Xerxes? Is that how you said it?
Ahasuerus.
Okay, Ahasuerus. There, that's what I said. Yeah. Okay.
I thought so.
Ahasuerus. There you go. Oh my gosh, look at these smart, amazing people that we have in this fantastic call. All right, Miss Debbie, this is Esther 1-2.
All right. In those days, King Ahasuerus reigned from his royal throne in the fortress of Susa.
Amen. That word again is the answer. Ahasuerus, is that right?
That's good.
Okay. The king made this for his people: war, a feast, gifts, or gods. The king made this for his people: war, a feast, gifts, or gods. This is 3, Miss Debbie.
All right. And he held a feast in the 3rd year of his reign for his officials and staff.
A feast it is. Perfect timing for the Thanksgiving thing, huh? What were they drinking? You're going to love this. Spring water, royal wine, oil, blood. What were they drinking? Spring water, royal wine, oil, blood. Well, I bet I know what it's not.
Yeah. They've
All right.
been
This
in the machine, so
yeah, that's probably true. I know the machines have been around for a while, but maybe not this many years.
right.
This is verse 7.
So beverages were served in an array of gold goblets, each with a different design. Royal wine flowed freely.
Beautiful royal wine it is. Oh, here we go. What were they drinking from? Gold vessels, silver vessels, marble vessels, or glass vessels? What were they drinking from? Gold vessels, silver vessels, marble vessels, or glass vessels? I know you'll get that one, Donna, or no, I bet this is Janet. I bet this is Donna and Calvin. Gold, it looks like might be the answer. What do you think, Deb?
Yeah, I remember reading that. So beverages were served in an array of gold goblets.
Gold it is. What was the name of the queen? Ruth, Vashti, Esther, Rosa. What was the name of the queen? Ruth, Vashti, Esther, Rosa. This is verse 9.
Should I wait another second or two?
Just trying to see. They probably are not sure how to spell Vashti, but we'll see. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So Queen Vashti also gave a feast for the women in King Artaxerxes' palace.
Beautiful.
No,
Vashti it is. Yeah. Vashti it is. What did the queen do during this time? Prayed, wept, had a feast for the women, committed adultery. What did the queen do during this time? Prayed, wept, had a feast for the women, committed adultery.
Also, verse 9. Queen Vashti also gave a feast for the women.
A feast for the women it is. What did the queen do when the king called for her? Laughed, refused, hurried to him, hid herself. What did the queen do when the king called for her? Laughed, refused, hurried to him, hid herself. Oh, that's probably the deal. Calvin is so great at typing. I know that, but maybe there's a delay cyber-wise, and that part wouldn't surprise me. They've had so many updates and redos on some of these platforms.
Yeah, I think so.
This is verse 12.
But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command.
Refused to come it is. What man gave the king counsel in this matter? Jonathan, Mordecai, Memucan, Asa. What man gave the king counsel in this matter? Jonathan, Mordecai, Memucan, Asa.
Well, this would be a really hard one to spell too. So
yeah, I know, since I can't even pronounce them correctly, it's rough.
Yes. So actually, if he'd had listened to Mordecai, he'd have been in a lot better shape. But
instead, he chose someone else. It sounds like
Menka. Is that how you said it?
I said Memucan, but what is the correct way?
No, that's fine. I don't have a clue.
Okay. Yeah, this is verse 16.
Yeah. So then some of the trusted men came, and there's like a whole list of them. They were eunuchs of the kings. So
Memicon is the correct answer, and it looks like Calvin and Donna got it right. He said the queen's deed would cause all women to do this: suffer, despise their husband, die, fail. He said the queen's deed would cause all women to do this: suffer, despise their husband, die, or fail. Despise their husband.
that one quick.
Yeah. If that was Calvin typing, I don't know. So it's Donna, I don't know. Despise their husband is the answer out there. Debbie, you think that's right?
Yeah. So verse 17 says the queen's action will become public knowledge for all the women and cause them to despise their husbands.
Not a good idea. The king sent out a decree that every man should do this: honor his wife, bear rule in his home, repent, fast, and pray. The king sent out a decree that every man should do this: honor his wife, bear rule in his home, repent, fast, and pray. I know which one I pick.
Yeah, a lot of those sound like a good idea. Unfortunately,
we only get to pick one.
Yeah, and the king didn't pick the right one particularly. So his decrease was heard throughout the vast kingdom so that all women will honor their husbands from the least to the greatest. So he was to be the head of the family, the head of the house, master of his own home.
Bear rule in his home. Good job. All right. That is actually chapter 1 of Esther. Great job, everyone, for joining us now on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia, either live with us or on the replay. And we love that you are with us. All right, Debbie, you haven't left yet, so that means you're ready to go to chapter 2?
Yeah, I'm good.
You are great, actually. All right. The beautiful maiden which pleased the king would be put to death, sacrificed to Baal, made queen, brought before the Sanhedrin. The beautiful maiden which pleased the king would be put to death, sacrificed to Baal, made queen, or brought before the Sanhedrin.
Okay, verse 4. So the young woman who pleases the king will become queen instead of Vashti.
Uh-oh, made queen it is. Who brought up Esther as his own daughter? Mordecai, Vashti, Haman, Reuben. Who brought up Esther as his own daughter? Mordecai, Vashti, Haman, Reuben.
Yeah. So in the fortress of Susa, there was a Jewish man named Mordecai, and son of Jairus, son of whatever, a Kishite, a Benjamite. And he was in the exiles with Jerusalem at the other captives. And he was the legal guardian of his cousin, who was named Hadassah, who is Esther, because she didn't have a father or a mother.
Wow. I can tell that Calvin has autocorrect because model car was the answer instead of Mordecai. So we know what's happening. Don't panic. We know that rule.
Yeah.
Autocorrect is like one of those things that can actually drive you nuts. All right, here we go. What relation was he to Esther? His uncle's daughter, his cousin's daughter, his brother's daughter, his nephew's daughter. What relation was he to Esther? His uncle's daughter, his cousin's daughter, his brother's daughter, or his nephew's daughter? I can feel you typing. There we go. All right, Debbie, what do you think?
Yep, that's what I would say too. Which verse do you want me to read?
Let's do 7. Yeah.
Okay, so Mordecai was the legal guardian of his cousin Hadassah, that is Esther, because she didn't have a father or a mother. The young woman was beautiful and all that. So
his uncle's daughter is the answer. Good job. Why did he raise Esther as his own daughter? Her parents were dead. He kidnapped her. She was lost. Her parents were in hiding. Why did he raise Esther as his own daughter? Her parents were dead. He kidnapped her. She was lost. Her parents were in hiding. I think verse 7 is pretty popular.
Yeah. So when her father and mother died, Mordecai had adopted her as his own daughter.
Absolutely. Parents had died. He instructed Esther not to do this. Reveal her nationality, be impolite, bow before the king, speak. He instructed Esther not to do this. Reveal her nationality, be impolite, bow before the king, speak.
Okay, verse 10 says Esther did not reveal her ethnic background or her birthplace because Mordecai had ordered her not to.
Reveal her nationality, it is. How did the king feel about Esther? He loved her. He hated her. He feared her. He was jealous of her. How did the king feel about Esther? He loved her. He hated her. He feared her. He was jealous of her. Good job. Okay, it's 17.
Oh, okay, the king loved Esther more than all the other women. She won more favor and approval from him than did any other young woman.
Beautiful. What version of the Bible are you reading from?
This is
Oh, okay. I just was wondering. I thought maybe you had an actual paper book. Okay. The king set this upon Esther: shame, pity, the royal crown, or spies. The king set this upon Esther: shame, pity, the royal crown, or spies.
There we go.
All right, let's see if that one's right, huh?
Yes, he placed the royal crown on her head and made her queen in place of Vashti.
Royal crown it is. 2 of the chamberlains sought to lay hands on the king, Esther, Vashti, Mordecai. 2 of the chamberlain sought to lay hands on the king, Esther, Vashti, or Mordecai. What is the translation of chamberlain in this case?
I'm sorry?
What is the translation of chamberlain in this case? What does that mean?
Mine says it's a eunuch.
Okay. Okay.
And they have the answer. Very good. So let's see. During those days, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, he heard the eunuchs talking, and they were planning to assassinate the king.
The king it is. Good job, my friends. Who learned of their plan? Haman, Mordecai, Vashti, or the spies? Who learned of their plan? Haman, Mordecai, Vashti, the spies.
There it is.
Ta-da.
So when Mordecai had learned the plot, he reported it to Queen Esther, and she told the king on Mordecai's behalf.
Mordecai it is. Awesome job. What happened to them? They were put in prison. They were hanged on a tree. They were stoned with stones. They were burned at the stake. What happened to them? They were put in prison. They were hanged on a tree. They were stoned with stones. They were burned at the stake.
Who's that?
We have the absolute smartest, faithful friends on purpose I have ever met.
Okay, so this was verse 23. When the report was investigated and verified, both men were hanged on the gallows.
Hanged on the gallows it is. All right, this is going super great. We are so happy to have you join us tonight on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. Our guest co-host tonight is the one and only Debbie Miller, and we are so excited to have you with us tonight, Miss Debbie. Thank you for doing this. We love, love, love the fact that you join us sometimes on the other side of the screen, and now you get to join us on this side of the screen. So that is always fun for us as well. We'd like to welcome Donna and Calvin. Hopefully Janice will be with us soon, as well as any of our other faithful friends on purpose who are watching live or on the replay. All right. Do you think you can handle another chapter, Miss Debbie? How about 3?
All right. I'm ready.
Ready, set, go. Chapter 3 of Esther. All the king's servants did this before Haman: bowed, trembled, worked, or fled. All the king's servants did this before Haman: bowed, trembled, worked, or fled.
There we go.
Wow, yeah.
So the entire royal staff at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman.
Bowed it is. This man did not reverence Haman. Joshua, Mordecai, Bishtan, Teresh. This man did not reverence Haman. Joshua, Mordecai, Bishtan, Teresh.
Wow. You had some fun names there, Kathy.
I know, thank you.
So anyway, the rest of verse 2 says, but Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage.
Mordecai it is. The man who would not reverence Haman was a Jew, dishonest, afraid, or a Gentile. The man who would not reverence Haman was a Jew, dishonest, afraid, or a Gentile. Boom.
Yep. Okay, well, when they warned him day after day and he would still not listen to them, they told Haman to see if Mordecai's actions would be tolerated, since he had told them he was a Jew.
Absolutely. When Haman saw this man did not reverence him, he was impressed, surprised, understanding, full of wrath. When Haman saw this man did not reverence him, he was impressed, surprised, understanding, or full of wrath. That was quick. Yay.
Yeah. Oh, I lost it. Oh, there it is. So
5.
when Haman saw that Mordecai was not bow down or pay homage to him, he was filled with wrath.
Absolutely. Haman sought to destroy the king and his princes, Esther and her maids, all the Jews, all the male children. Haman sought to destroy the king and his princes, Esther and her maids, all the Jews, all the male children.
Oh no, they lost their sound again.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I hate to have him reboot and start over because I never know what computer does what kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, well,
There we go. All the Jews. Let's see how that works.
okay, good. Yes. So when he learned of Mordecai's ethnic identity, Haman decided not to go do away with Mordecai alone, but he planned to destroy all of Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout all the kingdom.
All the Jews it is. How much would be put in the king's treasury to destroy them? 10 talents of silver, 100 talents of silver, 1,000 talents of silver, or 10,000 talents of silver? How much would be put in the king's treasury to destroy them? 10, 100, 1,000, or 10,000 talents of silver? Uh-oh, that sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, you'll have to interpret this. Verse 9 says, if the king approves, let an order be drawn up to authorize their destruction, and I will pay 375 tons of silver to the accountant for deposit of the royal treasury. So,
Wow, now that's an interesting translation because of course the answer is 10,000 talents, and it's just incredible to think, even if you talk in tonnage, can you even imagine having such a thing to haul around? That would be amazing. Wouldn't fit in my purse. Let's just go there.
yeah, for real.
The king took this from his hand and gave it to Haman: a gold vessel, a knife, his ring, or a gold coin. The king took this from his hand and gave it to Haman: a gold vessel, a knife, his ring, a gold coin.
Okay, so the king removed his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, the enemy of the Jewish people.
Ring it is. A letter was sent to all the provinces commanding: worship God, taxes be paid, the Jews be destroyed, Baal be worshipped. A letter was sent to all the provinces commanding: worship to God, taxes be paid, the Jews be destroyed, or Baal be worshipped.
There we go. Yes, so verse 13 says, letters were sent by couriers to each of the royal provinces telling the officials to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jewish people, young and old, women and children, and plunder their possessions on a single day.
Jews be destroyed. The king and Haman sat down to pray, study, judge, or drink. The king and Haman sat down to pray, study, judge, drink.
Just kind of reminds me of, well, not exactly, but, kind of like things that way they do things now. They make some big decision and then they sat down to drink while the city of Susa was in confusion. Like,
Yeah. That's
duh.
going to be confusion, so let's just drink. That sounds just really logical. Absolutely, drink it is. The city of Shushan mourned, wept, rejoiced, was perplexed. The city of Shushan mourned, wept, rejoiced, was perplexed. There we go.
There, yeah. So, as I said, they sat down to drink while the city of Susa was in confusion or perplexed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Unbelievable. All right. Chapter 3 is in the books, literally. And we are so happy that you are joining us tonight on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. Our fantastic guest co-host is the one and only Debbie Miller. And Debbie, why don't you take 1 second, honestly, to tell everyone about you if they haven't met you yet. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, I grew up in Nebraska, mostly on a farm, but I met my husband at a Bible college in Wyoming.
I didn't actually know that myself.
He was a farm boy from northern Wisconsin. And so anyway, now we live in Kansas City. We have 5 now grown sons. They each have a beautiful wife, and between them, they have 17, given us 17 grandchildren. Plus, we have a spare because one got married this summer, and so now we have 18. So,
wow, that is awesome. And what is your company that you work with?
I work with Legal Shield and ID Shield, giving everybody access to attorneys to ask all these questions with all this confusion and perplexion going on.
Isn't that the truth?
Today?
Absolutely. Those are some of the things that people are thinking of now with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. And how many people can I have in the house at the same time? Any of these restrictions been lifted, liability, all those things. So we love the fact that we actually have you and the attorneys anytime we need them. So thank you again for being here. And we're going to head this Esther chapter 4. What do you think?
Okay, I'm good.
Deep breath, work out, stretch a little. Here we go. When Mordecai knew what was done, he started a revolt, praised God, rent his clothes, demanded to see the king. When Mordecai knew what was done, he started a revolt, praised God, rented his clothes, demanded to see the king.
There we go. Wow, that came too quick.
Yeah.
So when Mordecai learned all that had occurred, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went into the middle of the city and cried loudly and bitterly.
Rented his clothes. Mordecai put on airs, fine linen, a feast, sackcloth with ashes. Mordecai put on airs, fine linen, a feast, sackcloth with ashes.
There. So yeah, he tore his clothes and he put on sackcloth and ashes.
Doesn't sound too attractive, but we'll see what happens in the next part. No one could enter here clothed in sackcloth. The temple, Jerusalem, the king's gate, or the marketplace. No one could enter here clothed in sackcloth. The temple, Jerusalem, the king's gate, or the marketplace.
Okay, yeah. He only went as far as the king's gate, since the law prohibited anyone wearing sackcloth to enter the king's gate.
King's Gate it is. In every province where the king's decree arrived, the Jews rejoiced, mourned, rebelled, attacked the messenger. In every province where the king's decree arrived, the Jews rejoiced, mourned, rebelled, or attacked the messenger.
Right. So they fasted, wept, lamented, and many lay on sackcloth and ashes.
Mourned it is. Great job. Pardon me. Go ahead. What?
I was just going to say a lot of mourning for sure.
Absolutely. Esther sent raiment to Mordecai, but he refused it, and he disguised himself, and he came to her, and he fled. Esther sent raiment to Mordecai, but he refused it, and he disguised himself, and he came to her, and he fled. Wow, maybe they're wondering. I bet they're not, though. Between Calvin and Donna, I'm telling you, we've got Bible scholars all over this community.
Yep. There it is. Yeah. So she sent the clothes to Mordecai to wear so he would take off his sackcloth, but he would not accept them.
Not accepted is. Who carried the messages back and forth from Esther to Mordecai? Hatak, Joshua, Nathan, Gehazi. Who carried the messages back and forth from Esther to Mordecai? Hatak, Joshua, Nathan, Gehazi.
Oh dear. Another word to spell.
Something tells me Calvin and Donna have this handled. Let's see. Hatak. Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
We will take that spelling.
That's good. So Hatak went to Mordecai in the city square in the front. He was a eunuch assigned to Esther.
Hatak it is, and just FYI, according to this version, it's Hatach, but no points off for misspelling around here. What did Mordecai want Esther to do? Escape from the palace, take money from the treasury, hide him, ask the king to spare her people. What did Mordecai want Esther to do? Escape from the palace, take money from the treasury, hide him, ask the king to spare her people.
I know they know this one.
Yep.
Okay, so verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Mordecai gave him a copy of the written decree issued in Susa ordering their destruction. So Hatak might show it to Esther, explain it to her, command her to approach the king, implore his favor, and plead with him personally for her people.
Spare the people. Anyone who approached the king without an invitation would be put to death unless he held this out: a red carpet, his arm, a golden scepter, a silver staff. Anyone who approached the king without an invitation would be put to death unless he held this out: a red carpet, his arm, a golden scepter, a silver staff.
Yep, that one came quick.
Yep.
So all the royal officers and the people of the royal province know that one law applies to every man or woman who approaches the king in the inner courtyard and who has not been summoned, the death penalty. Only if the king extends the gold scepter will that person live.
Wow. Mordecai said if Esther did not speak to the king, the Jews would be delivered, but it would take longer, She and her father's house would be destroyed. Angels would deliver them. There would be a war. Mordecai said if Esther did not speak to the king, the Jews would be delivered, but it would take longer. She and her father's house would be destroyed. Angels would deliver them. There would be a war.
Okay. If you keep silent at this time, liberation and deliverance will come to the Jewish people from another place, but you and your father's house will be destroyed.
Absolutely. And that's verse 14. Esther asked the people to fast for this long: 1 day, 1 week, 3 days, 3 weeks. Esther asked the people to fast for this long: 1 day, 1 week, 3 days, 3 weeks.
Okay, verse 16 says, go and assemble all the Jews who can be found in Susa and fast with me. Don't eat or drink for 3 days, day or night.
3 days it is. Da-da-da. All right. We are rocking this tonight, my friend. And I seriously love the explanation as far as choosing Esther. When we are called, are we ready to go? And I do love that logic, that reasoning. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. We are headed now to Esther chapter 5. How did Esther dress to approach the king? In sackcloth, in satin, in linen, in her royal apparel. How did Esther dress to approach the king? In sackcloth, in satin, in linen, in her royal apparel.
There. On the third day, Esther dressed up in her royal clothing and stood in the inner courtyard of the palace.
Royal apparel it is. When the king saw Esther standing in the royal court, he had her beheaded. He threatened to kill her. He sent her to prison. She obtained favor in his sight. When the king saw Esther standing in the royal court, he had her beheaded. He threatened to kill her. He sent her to prison. She obtained favor in his sight.
Right. As soon as the king saw Queen Esther standing in the courtyard, she won his approval. The king extended the gold scepter in his hand towards Esther, and she approached it and touched the tip.
She obtained favor in his sight. I love that colloquial vernacular, actually, when they talk like that. You can just imagine all the pomp and circumstance that was going on back then. I just think that's so cool when you actually get these visuals.
Yeah.
When the king held out the royal scepter, Esther cried, touched the tip of it, sang, danced. When the king held out the golden scepter, Esther cried, touched the tip of it, sang, danced. I love it when people like me actually get clues.
Okay, so I guess I already gave this one away. Sorry about that. So the king extended the gold scepter in his hand toward Esther. She approached and touched the tip of the scepter.
Exactly. The king said he would give Esther anything, up to half of the kingdom, 10,000 talents of silver, the chamberlains, the princes. The king said he would give Esther anything, up to half of the kingdom, 10,000 talents of silver, the chamberlains, the princes.
And so he said, "What is it, Queen Esther?" The king asked. "Whatever you want, even to half of the kingdom will be given to you."
Wow. Half of the kingdom it is. Esther asked the king to come to Mordecai, the king's gate, a banquet, her people. Esther asked the king to come to Mordecai, the king's gate, a banquet, her people. There we are.
Okay, she said, "If it pleases the king, come today to a banquet that I have prepared."
Banquet it is. Who else did Esther ask to be there? Mordecai, Haman, Hatok, Vashti, Vashti. Who else did Esther ask to be there? Mordecai, Haman, Hatok, Vashti. Interesting that we don't name our kids these names anymore, huh?
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. If I can't pronounce them, somebody else probably can't either.
Right. Yep.
Haman it is. Let's see if
dear.
it's right. Boom.
Yep, I think autocorrect got
Yeah.
spelling got him again. So
But I know what you meant, Calvin. Not to worry.
yeah, not at all. Okay, so Esther actually said, "May the king and Haman come today to the banquet that I have prepared for them."
Perfecto. Haman it is. Where did Haman see Mordecai? In the temple, in the king's gate, in the banquet room, in his own house. Where did Haman see Mordecai? In the temple, in the king's gate, in the banquet room, in his own house.
Oh, yeah, got it quick. Okay, so that day Haman was full of joy and in good spirits, but when he saw Mordecai at the king's gate, and Mordecai didn't rise or tremble in fear of him, he was filled with rage.
Absolutely. King's gate it is. Why was Haman full of indignation against Mordecai? He tricked him. He hit him. He spoke evil of him. He didn't stand at his presence. Why was Haman full of indignation against Mordecai? He tricked him. He hit him. He spoke evil of him. He didn't stand at his presence. Boom. That's why I said some of these questions are Kathy Weaver worthy.
Well, so I guess already read it again. Sorry about that.
Well, that's okay.
But Mordecai did not stand and tremble in fear at his presence.
Sounds like a little ego issue. What do you think?
Yeah, I think and so.
What was the name of Haman's wife? Jethro, Zeresh, Athena, Louise.
I like Louise.
Let's see if that's right. What was the name of Haman's wife? Jethro, Zeresh, Athena, Louise. I think I'll try Debbie's answer and see if that's right. Oh, Debbie. Zeresh, there you go.
Yeah.
We know what you meant.
So Haman controlled himself and went home, sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh to join him.
Zeresh it is. What did Haman have made for Mordecai? a snare, an altar, gallows, or a prison? What did Haman have made for Mordecai? A snare, an altar, gallows, or a prison?
So his wife and his friends told him, build a gallows, build a gallows.
Gallows it is. You can finish that part because this is the end of this chapter.
Oh, okay. 75 feet high, and ask the king that you can hang him, Mordecai, on it.
Doesn't sound like that part's going to end well. This one says, let the gallows be made of 50 cubits high, Cubits. I imagine the translation would be amazing. All right, Miss Debbie, I think
we need it to be 75 feet high I mean, obviously he would be long dead before he.
Oh, absolutely. I would think you only need to be inches off the ground if it's going to work. All right. It looks like we have enough time for one more chapter. Can you handle it, Miss Debbie?
All right.
Calvin and Donna, we want you to handle it too. Here we go.
Yep.
Esther, chapter 6. Thank you for joining us tonight on Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia. We get to have the fabulous guest co-host, Debbie Miller's in the house, and she's ready to go with us on chapter 6. What did the king have read to him? Records of the Chronicles, poetry, the list of accounts, or prayers? What did the king have read to him? Records of the Chronicles, poetry, the list of accounts, or prayers?
Yeah. Okay, so that night, sleep escaped the king, so he ordered the book of recording daily events, or the Chronicles, to be brought and read to him.
Yeah, and this one says book of records of the Chronicles. So it was daily what had happened. Is that right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Record of the Chronicles it is. Why did he have them read to him at night? He couldn't read. He couldn't sleep. Esther requested it. It was customary on the Sabbath. Why did he have them read to him at night? He couldn't read. He couldn't sleep. Esther requested it. It was customary on the Sabbath.
Yeah, he couldn't sleep. That night sleep escaped the king.
Couldn't sleep it is. It was found written about this man who told of the plot against the king. Haman, Mordecai, Ezra, Nathan. It was found written about this man who told of the plot against the king. Haman, Mordecai, Ezra, Nathan.
Okay. So they found written report of how Mordecai had informed on the 2 eunuchs who had guarded the king's entrance when they planned to assassinate the king.
Mordecai it is. Who were the men who sought to lay hands on the king? Jacob and Esau, Joshua and Caleb, Cain and Abel, Bigtan and Teresh. Who were the men who sought to lay hands on the king? Jacob and Esau, Joshua and Caleb, Cain and Abel, Bigtan and Teresh.
Maybe just pick A, B, C, or D.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I would definitely need. That's what I would definitely need. In fact, that would be a great idea. A, B, C, or D, Calvin. You can do that because I wouldn't want to spell these two myself. Don't tell me he's going to try to do that. Okay. There we go. I love that. You got it.
Right. All the rest of them, you actually knew who they were. So anyway, so yeah, the two eunuchs were whoever you said that weren't people
Eton
who
and
knew.
Teresh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And of course, I'm guessing I didn't know them personally.
Yeah.
Good job. What did the king ask after hearing this? What honor and dignity has he received? Has security been improved? Have those men been slain? What other deed has he done? What did the king ask after hearing this? What honor and dignity has he received? Has security been improved? Have those men been slain? What other deed has he done?
Right. So the king inquired, what honor and special recognition has been given to Mordecai for this act?
Beautiful. For those of you who are joining us right now, we are in Esther chapter 6. Who did the king ask him to honor a man? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, Teresh. Who did the king ask how to honor a man? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, Teresh. There you go.
So let's see. Haman entered, and the king asked him what should be done.
What should be done indeed? Haman it is. Who did he think the king was planning to honor? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, or Teresh? Who did he think the king was planning to honor? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, Teresh. Okay, you can go to the second half of that verse.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So Haman thought to himself, who is the king want to honor more than me?
Absolutely. Haman it is. I am so sorry about losing your sound. I know a lot of times in some of the Bible studies and different things that we do, literally you kind of wonder what's going on that they're preventing this from happening, but we shan't go there yet. What did he say the man to be honored should be arrayed in? Gold, the royal apparel, sackcloth, or linen? What did he say the man to be honored should be arrayed in? Gold, the royal apparel, sackcloth, or linen? There we go.
Good.
Beautiful.
Okay. So he said, for the men the king wants to honor, have them bring a royal garment that the king himself has worn.
Royal apparel. What did he say the man to be honored should ride? A golden chariot, the king's horse, a colt that no one ever rode, or a royal camel? What did he say the man to be honored should ride? A golden chariot, the king's horse, a colt that no one ever rode, or a royal camel?
Okay. And besides the royal garment that the king wore, a horse that the king himself has ridden.
King's horse it is. Who did the king honor? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, Teresh. Who did the king honor? Mordecai, Haman, Esther, Teresh.
Okay, so verse 10 says, the king told Haman, hurry and do exactly as you propose. Take a garment and a horse for Mordecai the Jew, who is sitting at the king's gate. Don't leave anything out that you suggested.
Beautiful. Well, Debbie, the good news is, honestly, that is the conclusion of chapter 6, right on time, because you know how strict we are around here with our schedules. And we honestly thank you so much for joining us tonight, live or certainly on the replay. And Debbie, I thank you 1,000,000% for being a co-host this evening for Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia.
Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing everyone again on Monday at high noon for Doc and Queenie Facebook Live. And hopefully all the Facebook gremlins have fixed so that we can be live again. And then every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock Central Time for Bible Trivia. Now, next week, of course, is Thanksgiving, and we will not be here for that night because a lot of people are traveling, et cetera, et cetera. But please know that you can go to my YouTube channel, Kathy Weaver KC, and you can see any of our Doc and Queenie Bible Trivia recordings. Some of those might need a refresher. We actually started this, if you can imagine, the first Thursday in January of 2021. So all of those recordings are on there if anybody ever wants to go back to the replay and do a refresher. So don't hesitate to do that. And we are thrilled that you were with us tonight, live or certainly on the replay. Have a great Thanksgiving. Debbie, I hope you get a chance to enjoy at least some of that big family of yours.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I'll see some of them. Hope you have a nice Thanksgiving as well. And of course, our friends here on Facebook.
Awesome. And thank you so much again for joining us. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye now.